Well, guys, thanks for tuning in today. With me, I have a special guest that we want to introduce you to. On screen with me right here is Tim Bolen, and he is a licensed counselor. First of all, Tim, why don't you just give us a little bit about your story? Tell us, how did you get into the counseling field? What sort of drew you to that profession?
I was pastoral minister for 28 years. And 4 years ago, I decided to take a little deviation. I've been a licensed counselor in Georgia since 2006. And so I practiced counseling in addition to serving the church. But 4 years ago, I decided I was just going to do this exclusively. I actually discovered that I needed to do this a long time ago when I first started into the ministry back in New Brunswick, Canada. I had a guy in his 40s come up to me and in my young 20s and asked me if I would counsel him and his wife, married almost 20 years. I'd been married at that time about 2 years. And so I grabbed a Gary Smalley book and I read as much as I could to try to understand what I might be able to offer him. And I just kind of hobbled through it. But after that experience, I said, one thing, as a pastor, I'm going to get asked to counsel. Number two, I really like this. So a need met a passion, and that's where that started.
That's cool. Well, Tim, we just wrapped up a series of teachings where we really trying to help families, marriages, couples deal with some relationship issues that are pretty prevalent right now. And what I want to know from you, because I know you counsel couples, what are the top one or two, maybe just a couple of challenges that you're seeing couples are going through right now that they're coming to you for help for?
If you ask any counselor that question, they're probably going to tell you what most people tell you when they call. And I think there's actually something underneath it. They're going to say, we are having communication problems. And so I'd say 9 times out of 10, that's what couples tell me when they call. But what I've discovered is that they don't have a problem communicating. They have a problem listening.
Wow.
And so my belief here is that I think over the last couple of years for sure, that there's this fear of conflict within marriage that I've never really seen before. It's partly because people didn't grow up seeing healthy conflict modeled in their home. Secondly, our culture obsessively tells people that conflict is bad. Well, as a relationship therapist, I disagree with that. Conflict is essential. Now, mean conflict is bad. Unhealthy conflict is bad, but productive conflict is an important, necessary part of relationships.
Wow, that's good stuff. So, in light of that, I guess the question is, if you could magically impart one skill or a piece of learning to these couples, what would you help them with?
I think people have to learn how to negotiate, because marriage, I tell this, I don't know if it's the best analogy, but it's one that I use a lot. It's that, marriage is often like hostage negotiations 101. I mean, think of yourself as a hostage negotiator. You roll up on the scene, you have one task and only one task, and that is to make sure that you understand what the guy holding these people hostage really wants. So can you afford to not listen? Can you afford to not understand what they're saying? Can you afford to blow them off? You're not just your job, but their lives depend on you listening to what is being said. And sometimes people will have to admit, I didn't hear what you said. I heard what you said and I ignored it. I heard what you said 500 times and I didn't think it was important. Or I just decided that listening to you is something that I can afford to get away with. Not listening to you is something I can afford to get away with because I can do other stuff.
That's good, man. That's something I'm sure somebody out there needed to hear. So that's great stuff, man. So you have some resources that you're working on right now, and have already posted some of those online that people actually could engage with. Tell us about what you're doing and how we can find that online.
It's skillsofengagement.com. What I've done with that is I've started posting video series on various topics like marriage and parenting. My next one I'm going to record here in a couple of weeks is on addictions. I also plan to do one pretty soon on before you marry again, because a lot of men come to me either going through or having divorced, and I have to help them build a relationship filter, and they don't even know what that is. So, I'm creating these series as a means of giving tools to people that may or may not ever meet me in person, may not have an opportunity to work with me, but nonetheless, I've just taken the best stuff that I have packaging it in an on-demand format for people to get whenever they want it.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that link right in the description of this video. So if you're interested in that, guys, it's going to be right down there for you. Just go to the description on YouTube and you can find Tim's content there. And man, thanks for taking the time to just give us a little bit of help on this. I know this is going to be helpful to somebody out there as they continue to engage with this content that we're providing about marriage. And thanks for what you're doing over there, man.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you.
All right, man.